What's going on, y'all? Machiavelli Mills TV. I hit that like button and hit the subscribe button. And so now it's time for us to talk about Swerve Strickland versus Booker T. Now, this is wrestling talk for those who don't know. Swerve Strickland is a black wrestler, formerly of the WWE. Now he is with All Elite Wrestling, aka AEW. He's the champion over there. He's experiencing a lot of success. So Swerve, after leaving WWE and being with AEW, he spoke about how black wrestlers aren't marketed fairly in the WWE, right? So another black wrestler, a wrestling legend, Booker T, spoke out. He responded to Swerve Strickland's comments, and he spoke out. He said basically Swerve has had, maybe he has some personal gripes with how his career went in the WWE. Maybe he has some personal stuff going on. But Booker T said, you know, in my 20 years of being with the WWE, I've always been treated fairly. I've always been treated fairly over here, right? Now, I'm paraphrasing, but that's essentially what Booker T said. And when Booker T said that shit, I said, bruh, you tell that shit to somebody else, okay? No, you weren't. No, you weren't. I understand Booker T is in a precarious situation. He works, I believe he's still employed with the WWE. No, he is. So he's not in a position to criticize the WWE, right? So he got to act like everything was peaches and cream his entire career in the WWE. He got to act like everything went extremely well. And we all know, all fans of wrestling really, really know. If you've been following Booker T's career, you know he was not given a fair shake in the WWE at all. Post-career, yes. During his career, no, the fuck he was not. All right? Now, anyway, after Booker T makes these comments saying he's been treated fairly his whole 20-year career, his 20 years working with the company and all of that, Swerve Strickland, he's on Vlad TV and he's asked about Booker T's comments and he says, were you treated fairly? Was it fair when, you know, Vince McMahon said the N-word in front of you? Right? Now, Vince McMahon didn't call Booker T the N-word. He said, what's up, my N-word? Right? Like Jackie Chan said in Rush Hour. But he said it, who was he speaking to? Was it John Cena? Who was he speaking to when he said that? I forget who he was speaking to. But Booker T was right there when he said it, and he was like, tell me he didn't just say that. Tell me he didn't say that, right? So Booker T was on camera when Vince McMahon said the N-word live on air, right? And Swerve was like, was it fair then? Now, to play devil's advocate, Vince said this, but Swerve Strickland still went to go work in the WWE. And really, he went to work because WWE is the premier organization to wrestle in. It is the premier promotional company to work under in wrestling. That is the highest of the highs, the WWE. The longest running wrestling company that is mainstream. All the way to nationally televised. WWE is the premier organization. So it's like, if you ain't going to the WWE at that point in Swerve Strickland's career, where the hell could you go? If you can't go to Bella Noche, where the hell could you go? You feel me? Right? But anyway, and so when he said that, Booker T took exception to it. And he was like, you know, on his podcast, he like, yo, you know, this race talk gets brought up all the time. And, you know, in so many words, I'm trying to remember exactly what he said, but in so many words, he was basically trying to downplay racism in the WWE. Like we're done. Like, he talked about him breaking down barriers, which he did. He did break down barriers for future black wrestlers to come. He did. He paved the way. 100%, 100,000%. That he's not lying about that at all. But it's like, bro, wrestling, the black wrestlers were never promoted fairly, for real. Now, to be fair, I don't watch wrestling much nowadays, so I can't say about now. But I'm talking when I was watching wrestling, hell no. I don't remember a black wrestler getting pushed for the belt for real outside of The Rock. I don't, and you know The Rock is half black, half Samoan. So some would figure, well, The Rock's look, first I'm going to say this, The Rock's charisma, his look, his appeal, because he not only appealed to the fans in wrestling, he appealed to women, he appealed to national audiences that didn't even watch wrestling, which is why he became a movie star eventually. And he was on hosting Saturday Night Live and all of that. That helped because he was so damn marketable. The guys wanted to be like him, girls wanted to be with him. And then also, let's be for real, The Rock has Samoan heritage, and the Samoans were always a big part of wrestling promotions, all for the longest of time, right? And he's the grandson of Peter Maivia and also the son of Soul Man Rocky Johnson. But other than The Rock, black wrestlers were not pushed to be the champion for real. Like, I'm telling y'all, man, like, when Booker T said he was treated fairly in wrestling, when he came, by the WWE, no, he wasn't. When he came to WWE, he was a jobber to the bigger talent. Let's be for real. A jobber is a guy that's set to lose. He was losing to the bigger talent immediately as soon as he came over from WCW. And now everybody gonna argue, people gonna argue, man, everybody was losing when they came from WCW, which is true. But Booker was still losing and not getting fair runs when it was obviously his turn to be up next. Triple H, the man who pays Booker T, refused to put Booker over. Refused to put him over. He posed the one. Triple H did not let Booker T become champion. Pushed against that shit. For real. And he know that. He know that. Booker T couldn't even get a fair push as a champion. He had to be the champion under that goddamn King Booker Act. Right? He couldn't even be the five time. He couldn't do that. He couldn't be the champion as that. He had to be under that damn King Booker act with that goddamn accent he had on. That terrible accent he had. He couldn't even be himself. He couldn't even be Booker as the champion, man. Like, come on, man. We not going to gloss over that, man. I was there. I was watching that shit. I remember, bro, Ron Simmons, a.k.a. Farouk, he could never get a push as even a singles champion for real, a strong push. He was always attached to a stable. He was an APA. That was a great part of his career and all that. Man, Ron Simmons, as cut up as he was, man, Ron could never get no push. Ron was champion in WCW as the black champion, heavyweight champion. He wasn't champion in WWE. He wasn't no heavyweight champion. He wasn't champion, the WWF, WWE champion ever. Never got that push. Let's be for real, man. He did not. You know what I'm saying? Shelton Benjamin never got the chance he supposed to get. Shelton, one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen in my natural fucking life. Had a wrestling background from college. He never got the push he deserved. Never did. Mark Henry didn't get a push until at the end of his career. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these dudes, I've spoken on this channel, a lot of black men, like they all, that's in WWE, they act like racism does not exist in WWE, like it never existed. I'm not saying like it doesn't exist. They act like it never existed in the WWE. They try to downplay it a lot of times. And most of the time it's because they're still employed with the WWE. So they don't want to say, and I get you in a position where you don't want to mess up your bread. You know what I'm saying? But like, let's be for real. Let's tell the truth, Buck. You were not treated fairly. You weren't. You were not, man. The height of your singles career was in WCW. It was not in a WWF or WWE. They was pairing you up with Gold Dust. And again, that was fun to watch. But Booker, man, Booker height shouldn't have been King Booker and his tag teams with Gold Dust. He should have been on a run that he was on in WCW, man. For real. As legendary of a wrestler he is, as much as he put his sweat equity into that business, as much as he gave it his all, as much as he was an outstanding wrestler, as many doors and barriers he's broken down, he should have been rewarded handsomely for that. But he really wasn't. You feel me? And it's okay to say that. Swerve and Booker are like, they're differencing in opinions, and I think they're missing the mark in understanding each other. This isn't a shitting on each other fest. It's the fact that Book was the man, and he was never given that shake. Mark Henry, Shelton Benjamin, you know what I'm saying? Ron Simmons, they was never given that fair shake like that. Let's be for real, man. And some of y'all gonna say, Vince McMahon saying the N-word is no different than Leonardo DiCaprio saying the N-word in Django. Yes, it is. Vince owns the company. He has creative control over all that shit. Leonardo DiCaprio can't control what he say in the script and what the director want him to do and say. He can't control that. He don't have that much creative freedom. Vince McMahon had all creative freedom to do what the hell he wanted to do, and he chose to say the N-word on camera because he wanted to say that shit because he thought that shit would sell and look cool. That's what he wanted to present. He could have not said that. Wrestling wouldn't have hurt his business if he chose not to say that, if he omitted that word. He wanted to say that. You know what I'm saying? And I know some of y'all gonna say, well, Swerve still went to work in the WWE, which is true. But again, if you want to be the biggest star you could be, especially at that time, you got to come through the WWE, baby. You want to be the biggest wrestling star you want to be, you got to come through them ranks. You got to come through that company to get to get to the pinnacle of your career, to get paid top dollar. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, but I don't like how Mark Henry and them, when they asked Mark Henry about wrestling, I've made videos about this before. When they asked Mark Henry about racism in wrestling, Mark Henry be like, it's racism in everything. No, motherfucker, we talking about what happened in the company you work for. What happened there? But he not going to want to say it because he don't want to say anything to jeopardize his bread and his check that he getting. And you feel me? I know brothers got to get paid, but like, man, like Tony Atlas, man, as much as groundbreaking as he is, him and Soul Man Rocky Johnson, Dwayne The Rock Johnson's father, Soul Man Rocky Johnson, rest in peace of Rocky Johnson. Rocky Johnson and Tony Atlas became the first black tag team champions ever in history, right, of the WWE, WWF, right? And Tony is one of the biggest raccoons I've ever seen in my life. He started talking about reverse racism. He started talking about black folks being the real racists on camera and shit. I mean, he started sounding like a goddamn minstrel show. Kissing white women's feet on camera and kissing the bottom of their shoe. And Tony be doing a lot of weird ass stuff. A lot of buck dancing, a lot of hard shoeing, a lot of butter biscuit eating. I'm talking about he be on his biggest Sambo trip. If you ain't never seen Tony Atlas, man, and it make it worse, he got a southern accent because the brother from Virginia, I believe, and it's just like he is a walking, talking buck dancer. Like, it be like real minstrel showish. I no seen no racism. If ever there is, if ever there is some racism, I ain't never seen it around these parts over here. And racism ain't never been around on these parts, man. Ain't never seen no racism come across the screen around here. Never. If ever there is some racism, old Tony Atlas, we ain't never seen the real racists is the black people. The black people, the real racists, because they always talking about racism. We need to get over it. Get over it. We just poor black folk. We don't know what we don't know. And we the white men know more than us. That's how the goddamn Tony Atlas present his goddamn self. The fuck is wrong with Tony, man? Where's his black family at the slap? Yeah, slap the shit out of Tony. I'm sorry. You gotta slap Tony or something, because he gotta wake up out of it. He's in a sunken place for real. And I'm not gonna edit this video because I really don't got the time to. Y'all gotta look at that picture of Tony Atlas kissing that white woman's feet. Was that his wife? Maybe it was his girlfriend. I don't give a fuck. I mean, he kissing her. I think he kissed the bottom of the shoe. Or kissing the shoe and all. I don't give a fuck what it was. In public, doing that for a public display, that is just like, yo. It was just so cringe. It was so distasteful. It was so like degrading to see him like that. I said, look at this. This is the first black tag team champion acting like Hoppin' Bob, Step and Fetch. You feel me? And a lot of them undertake that persona to appease their white bosses in the WWE, to not appear as threatening. Because I seen even Booker T in his response to Swerve Strickland, you wanted me to be the angry black man. Brother, no. And don't label black men as being angry when we talking about some shit that really affects us. Some stuff that really affects the bottom line of a lot of talent. That affects the career and the wrestling legacy of people. Come on, man. Ron Simmons ain't even remember how he's supposed to be remembered because he didn't get the push. Book, you remember, but you could have been even more glorious if stuff was different. Booker T, Triple H said he ain't losing to people like you ain't supposed to beat him. And in the damn script of what he said. And he meant that shit, man. You was never going to be bigger than him at any turn if he could help it. Let's be for real, man. Shelton Benjamin never got a fair shake. I'm still pissed about Shelton Benjamin. And some would say, well, he ain't that good on the mic. Man, motherfucker had Jinder Mahal in them as champ. Like, come on, bro. Like, come on. It's a lot of dudes that wasn't good on the mic. That was out here getting pushes and pushes and pushes. When you got dudes that wasn't good on the mic or dudes that wasn't having that great of a skill on the microphone. I mean, as champion. There's a lot of dudes that wasn't good on the mic, that weren't great talkers, that was champions. You feel me? Like, come on, man. Like, Great Khali didn't have no charisma at all. He was just big. He was champion, just big. He just was Goliath. No charisma, nothing. And still was champion. Shelton Benjamin couldn't get that, man. Shelton could do everything. Ask all them dudes. Bruce Pritchard, ask Jim Cornette and them. All them dudes about Shelton Benjamin. Shelton was the one. Was the one. He was even more technically sound than Brock and all of. He was cold and still couldn't get that fair shake for real, man. Which is absolutely unfortunate. So, Swerve Strickland is right. WWE does not market the black. They did not. I don't know if they still don't because I ain't been watching wrestling like that. But they coming up in my age and even after, for a while, the black wrestlers were not fairly marketed at all. And Booker T know that. He just playing dumb because WWE write his checks and do what you got to do, I guess. Peace.